Hello, everyone. I am so excited to share with you today at this special online conference tasks before apps and some tips and tricks and strategies for designing tech rich learning experiences for your students. My name is Monica Burns. I'm an ed tech and curriculum consultant and former New York City public school teacher. I blog at classtechtips.com and share lots of favorites including in my books. And Tasks Before Apps is my new book from ASCD. And I'm going to be sharing some resources that fall into this category today. And I'll make sure as well to share this information before we finish up together today. Now, might have met some of you earlier this year. These are some of my favorite tweets from ISTE, or maybe we've been to an event together where you've had a chance to hear me speak and for us to chat a little bit about favorite tech tools, or maybe we've connected online on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, or you followed along on the blog the past few years where I've been sharing lots of my favorites. But either way, we're here together today to talk about this idea of tasks before apps and what I like to call the tasks before apps mindset. So we're going to start off together today with three big questions that's going to guide our conversation together. And the first one is, at the end of today's lesson, what should students understand? So, what are your learning goals for students? What is it that you want them to know and be able to do? Now, those learning goals might be the same as they were a year ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago on a curriculum map, or they might be evolving, but we're really focused first and foremost on what it is you want students to understand. And then we talk about how will I know for sure if students understand and what those expectations are you've set out for them. And then what would I like students to accomplish today or this week or within a particular unit of study? So it's really all about those learning experiences. So today, although I'm going to share some of my favorite open ended creation tools and some tips for collaborating with digital tools, we're really focused on what it is we want students to understand, how we want them to interact with material, and what kind of different experiences we're going to create for them as well. And so when we talk about this idea of tasks before apps, so the activities that students are taking part in, regardless of the different types of digital tools, we're thinking about creation, collaboration, and curiosity. And these are really going to be the three words that are going to anchor our conversation as we talk about this idea of tasks before apps and designing a learning experiences for students that are very rich and full of different experiences for them to have with technology, taking it to really elevate that experience. So you might bring digital tools into different lessons that you have for students or within larger units that you've developed for them. You might choose moments where you want to embed digital tools within a lesson, really choosing moments strategically, shifting from something that feels really traditional to something that is more innovative and maybe brings in more digital pieces. And today we're going to talk about doing this about thinking both big and small, and we're going to spotlight a few of my favorite tools. And so you might be familiar with the SAMR model. The Asus framework is a different framework. It's one that I developed and shared in my first book on scannable technology and that I revisit when talking about tasks before apps. And this is really all about different ways that we can bring in digital tools into learning experience for students in a way that is purposeful and meaningful. So the A in the ACES framework is all about access. Students can easily and efficiently locate content hosted online to find information, answer questions, or connect with others. Then the C is our curate. Students interact with resources handpicked by their teacher that relate to course content, student interest, or the individual needs of learners. So A for access, being able to easily find information. C for curate, getting resources in the hands of students that they need. The E for engage isn't about that hook or engagement at the beginning of a lesson, but getting kids in the flow of learning. So students use technology tools to build transferable skills during hands-on learning activities that require them to create products and collaborate with others. And the final piece, which we'll talk about today in this creation mode, is share. Students have an authentic audience for their learning, setting a purpose for their work, and connecting their creations to the world outside of the classroom. So, bringing these big ideas into our discussion today, we want to make sure that as students are creating content, that they're ready to collaborate with their peers, that they're exploring topics that they're curious about and want to know more about, and we're giving them the tools they need to make this happen. So, the first big C that you heard me mention was creation. So, in the classroom, how can students create a product that shows what they know? Now, I know there are a wide range of digital tools, apps, and websites you might be using in your classroom. I love open ended creation tools. Now, open ended creation tools don't have a level to win, they don't have questions to answer, there's no right way to use them. It's really a choose your own adventure type of experience. And so, we'll look at and we'll spotlight a few of my favorite creation tools today, and I'll take you out online so you can see them in action. But when we talk about creation in the classroom, there's that natural versus between content consumption and content creation. Now, kids are consuming lots of content on all of their devices, whether they're reading, viewing, listening to something. But when they consume content, it's a wonderful part of the way they interact with digital tools, but we can help them become smarter consumers of content when we give them a chance to make their own, to participate in content creation as well. So there's a variety of types of different creations students can take part in, a range of features, and lots of different purposes for making this happen in your classroom. So we're going to look at some of those open-ended creation tools today. But before we do, I want to make sure we talk a little bit about collaboration. Now, I came from a one-to-one iPad classroom, so everyone had their own device. Kids didn't take them home, but they had them easily accessed, accessible all day long. But when we're talking about different types of collaboration, it can take many forms. But when we are bringing collaboration into the classroom, we want students to develop transferable skills. There's so many applications for collaboration. We want them to be able to navigate different digital spaces, to talk sitting next to each other as they work together. And this can really promote critical thinking, build skills like compromising, and there's both short term and long term goals that we might have in mind when we think about bringing collaboration into the classroom. So, there are a few different models. There are shared screen collaboration, remote collaboration, role based collaboration. When we think about these three, it doesn't mean that you have to have a device for every student, but that students can use what you've got. So, remote collaboration can be students work on individual devices to contribute to a single shared creation. Role based collaboration, students work on individual devices to complete assigned tasks for a group project. And shared screen collaboration, students work together in pairs to complete a task using one device. So you might have days where students are working on their own on a piece of technology that they have right in front of them. They might be working remotely, collaborating with partner class 2 time zones away, or you might have students in the same classroom leaning over their device together, having a conversation, pointing at the screen, and talking together as they get ready to create something. Now, the last C we want to talk about is curiosity and really providing opportunities for students to explore things they're excited about and help them when it comes to tackling that question, right? You don't know what you don't know, to provide lots of experiences to spark their curiosity as well. So, technology can really further curiosity by helping kids go on a deep dive to find information related to questions that they have. You might use interest surveys with students to see what they're interested and excited about. You can help them cultivate a wonder mindset by modeling for them and thinking aloud how you wonder about certain things around you. Maybe you walk in the morning and say, I heard something really interesting in a podcast I was listening to on my drive or walk or bike ride to work this morning, and even sparking student curiosity by giving them an opportunity to interact with different digital experiences. Maybe it's that VR that you're bringing into your classroom so students can see the world a little bit differently and get excited about what's around them. So, today, as we talk about this idea of tasks before apps and we look at some student products and tools that can be used for student products, you might be thinking, I want my students to create a website because they're going to share it with a local organization who's going to publish their websites on their website and link out to their work. Or you might say, I want students to create a book trailer because we are going to bring all of our book trailers to the local library on QR codes, attach them on a special display, and convince other people to read our favorite books. Or you might want students using a tool that lets them create an ebook because instead of having them just write their narrative essays, you want them to be able to use their voice to take pictures, to gather video, and pull it all together to create a special ebook. Now, there's all different types of products students can make with open-ended creation tools, and this comes back to our questions from the beginning. What is it that you want students to explore, and then why might they be using a particular tool or developing a certain product? So, student products might include ebooks, screencasts, websites, movies, podcasts, so many more we could add to this list. And you might decide that you want to use an open ended creation tool with students that connects to a particular type of media. You might know that you want your students to write those 5 paragraphs because they're going to be expected to replicate that activity in a different part of their school day. You might want them using their voice to tell the story of their learning because they're conversationally proficient in English and struggle as writers. So you want to help build their confidence before they're working on their sentence composition. You might want students to capture or curate images, find video or capture their own video, or even make connections to different graphics. So, we're going to look at some spotlight tools for creation together today, 4 of my favorite, and we'll talk a little bit about how they work, how you might use them in the classroom, and you'll hear why I am so excited about them. So, we're going to look at Book Creator and Spark Video, and we're going to talk a little bit about GarageBand and Explain Everything, which are 2 you might want to explore a little bit more deeply. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Chrome browser here, and we're going to talk about Book Creator together. Now, I love tools that are open ended, that are free, that are ready to go, and you can use on lots of different devices. And so, if you haven't seen it this year, Book Creator last summer made a big announcement at the end of the summer that they have a Chrome version of their super popular iPad app, Book Creator. So I am at app.bookcreator.com. I can log in with my Google account. You see my little person right here. I can invite students to join my library. So if I've created a library, I can invite them to join into the teacher library using a Google account or using a QR code to join. And students can create books within this space, and I can see all of their books in real time. I could even set it up so they can collaborate in real time, similar to what you might be familiar with Google Docs. But I'm going to go ahead and create a new book so you can see just how easy it is for your students to jump in and to create a book with this open-ended creation tool. Now, when we start talking about tasks today, right, you might have students create a book that is for documenting a science experiment or doing the steps for solving a math problem or showing off something that they've learned in social studies or science or reading or a different class. We're going to choose landscape here because it fills up my whole screen, so it makes a nice cover demo. And I'm going to hit the plus sign right here, and you'll see these are all the things I can bring into my page. I might import a picture when it's saved to my Google Drive that's on my computer, or even using a Google image search. So I'm going to go ahead and search for Badlands. We're going to do a national park mini demo here. Now, I could pull up one of these pictures if I wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead to my files here, and I have a special file here, special folder. I'm going to pull in this picture that I took myself while on a trip to South Dakota a few summers ago. So it uploads my picture. I can go ahead and tap it, pull it here, position it as I want to. I can hit the plus sign again. Maybe I'm going to take a selfie and add it to an About the Author page, or skip down here to the pen tool. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose a different color. Maybe I'll choose blue, and I could write by Monica. I'm on my trackpad today, a little bit prettier when I'm on the iPad, but I'm going to hit done and it'll pull in my writing there and I can click on it, put it anywhere I want to. I'm going to go back up here to my plus sign. I could also use the text tool to type in the title for my book on the Badlands. Now, anytime anything is tapped with blue around it, then I can hit the inspector button and I can go down here and make the font a little bit bigger. I can choose one of the fonts that are here. Maybe I'll choose this one so it looks so nice and exciting. I could choose a background color if I wanted to. I could change the color of the font so it pops out a little bit. And then when I come out here, I can position it any way I want so it pops right here. When I tap the back here and I go to inspector, I can even choose the page if I want it to look a little bit more thematic, if you will. Even if I pull this out here, I can position it so it goes behind these pieces right there. If I want to fill up my screen a little bit more like a postcard almost. Now I'm going to go to this plus sign and this will allow me to record my voice so I can hit start recording. And so I might say, the Badlands in South Dakota is a must visit location. I can stop, use this recording, and plug it in here to my page. So I love this example of Book Creator when we talk about tasks before apps because it's all about designing a learning experience for your students that connects to your goals. So you might say to students when they create a book all about a national park like I'm doing here that they need to have an about the author page. They need to have a page that gives some key facts or details about the location of this area. Perhaps they have to add a fourth page with information on the animals that live in this national park. It comes back to what your expectations are. And in this case, I've chosen to use Book Creator to demo this for you because it allows students to record their voice, to pull in different media, and create something that could be shared really easily. So I'll come back out here to my books. Once I finish my book, I can hit the share button. I can publish it online, which means I get a link that the whole world could see. I can download it as an ebook if I want it as an EPUB file, or even print it. And now if I had all of my students in here making books together, I could combine their books. So maybe they each make 1 or 2 pages on their favorite national park and we pull it in here together. And I have that option as well. If I did want to, as I click here, if I did want to put this in a shared library, I would also have the opportunity to invite students to collaborate. Maybe they would each make their own page too. So this Book Creator is one of my favorites. You can see in this example from Book Creator's blog on this book on the respiratory system where a student has taken a picture of themselves to add to the page. They've layered text and shapes and everything on top of them. Those lines are one of the shape options. And so you're really able to make a dynamic product. The next one we're going to look at together is Spark Video. Now, Spark Video I love because it's iOS friendly, meaning there's an iPad and iPhone app, and it's Chromebook friendly. So we're going to go back out here onto the Chrome browser, and I'm going to switch over here to spark.adobe.com. So I'm here at spark.adobe.com. If you go to /edu, you'll get to their education page, and that takes you to all of their education content. Now, if you haven't used Spark recently, you might not know that all the premium features are now totally free for students, and you can get your kids who are under 13 into Spark too. All you have to do is verify your school's domain, and all your kids can jump into your Adobe Admin Console totally free and get all these features. Now, even though Spark Video is its very own iOS app, you can access Spark Post, Spark Page, and Spark Video from here. Spark Post is awesome. I use this tool to make my slides when I do a presentation like this for blogging. You might use it for students to make virtual exit slips. So many options with Post. Spark Page is a website creation tool, super dynamic. I use it all the time. And then Spark Video, which is our video creation tool that we're going to look at together today. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how it doesn't matter what app we're using, right, or what tool we're using. Students could share their learning all about the same place, in this case using a movie making tool. So Spark Video gives you access to a handful of templates. They are awesome. It lets you choose between them or what we're going to do today, which is just start from scratch. And so Spark Video has a plus sign. The plus sign, if you know where to find it, you'll be good to go because everything lives behind this plus sign that you see in all the tools. I'm going to X out of the demo that pops up here, and here it is. There's my plus sign. I can add video, text, photo, or icon. So I'm going to add text here, and I'm going to type in the Badlands. Now, this defaults to blue and with my logo because I have this set up with my brand, which your kids can actually do or your school can do for free with those K-12 features. But I'm going to find one, as much as I love the hot pink or the bright blue, I think something a little bit more outdoorsy would feel better for this one. I can hold the orange button and record my voice. Head over to the Badlands on your next summer trip, and it will record my voice and change the length that it stays on this slide. Now, for the next slide, instead of having to choose from these, I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to do split screen. And this is where I could put in text, video, photo, or I'm going to do an icon. I'm going to search for South Dakota and add this here. So many to choose from. I'll go ahead and choose this one. Then I might write South Dakota here. Now I have the option to record my voice again, or if I just want this to linger on here, I could let it linger for 2 or 3 or 4 seconds if I wanted to there. The next one, I'm going to show you something really cool. So they've got this photo option where I can search for free photos from Unsplash or Pixabay, or I can go ahead and upload a photo myself from that same folder as before. I'm going to pull in that picture from the Badlands. I'm going to tap and add some text over this, and maybe I might say something like majestic because it's just so beautiful, and let this linger for 3 or 4 seconds. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the video option. This lets me bring in any MP4 or MOV files, or MOV files, or MOV as I always call them, files. This one is a 9-second clip from my iPhone, but I'm just going to grab 3 seconds of it, save the video clip, it'll upload and add here. So while this adds to my screen, a couple other things I want to show you once this pops up. In that upper right hand corner where we saw theme, there's also the resize button. This is new. So this lets you make widescreen or square videos. Great for Instagram if your kids are making things to share in a class or school Instagram page. And then music lets me choose from different music. Now, medieval times is probably not going to be the best one for this, or Paris in the 1920s might not be the best one. But I'm going to go ahead and choose something like this Trek Further, which allows me to just tap on it and add it here. So once I'm done with this, I can go to preview and I can play my movie. I've got the volume down on my computer a little bit, so now you can hear a little bit better. Here comes my video. And it automatically puts the credits there if I chose anything from the noun project like I did. And then it also has this default with my kind of branding extra piece there. Now I can download this as an MP4 file, save it as a movie, or I can hit this share button and share it out with a link, similar to like how you could publish online with Book Creator. So the idea here with these two tools is that we're giving kids lots of different ways to tell the story of their learning. Alternatively, you might want to use a tool like GarageBand or Soundtrap to have kids talk about their learning, creating podcasts using this tool. You might use something like Explain Everything to have kids make a tutorial that could be shared with an authentic audience. So this is something where if you've ever seen a Khan Academy video, Explain Everything, which is Chromebook friendly and iPad friendly, is a really great option for this too. So before we finish up today, I want to mention something that I think is so important, which is how you can connect kids and all the creations they made with authentic audiences. Now, depending on the type of permissions you have set up for your class, you might want to share more locally or share more globally the work that students create. So you might have a partner class on the other side of the world that's going to read your ebooks and give you feedback. You might create videos about national parks and tweet them out to the different national park systems who are so active on social media, or ask them to watch and respond or share content more strategically with like a community partner. But either way, giving your students work some eyes outside of your classroom can be a really wonderful way to make the most of different digital tools. So, as you're making plans to bring this back into your classroom, I love thinking about our goals. And this week, I will, maybe this week, you'll try out one of these tools. You'll create an exemplar that connects to a project that your students are going to do in this upcoming school year. I also encourage you to think of who your partner in tech might be, who's someone in your school building or far away that you've met virtually, like at a conference like this one, chatting and talking about what's going on in your mind as your wheels are spinning for bringing things back to the upcoming school year. So, who's your person going to be to try things out, to hold you accountable, and to help give you some ideas and troubleshoot? And then, of course, keep your tool belt light. I only shared a couple of my favorite open ended creation tools today, even though I'm someone who's very guilty of tweeting and sharing and writing my 50 ways to or 20 favorite apps for this. Keep your tool belt light, zero in on some open ended creation tools you could use in lots of different ways this school year, and of course, share your story. If you're doing something awesome, tell the whole world about it. If you're not sure if what you're doing is awesome, it probably is. Tell someone else. Get them excited, inspire them, share what you're doing in your classroom with your students to help others try out something new too. So I hope you were able to gather some ideas during our time together today. Again, my name is Monica Burns. My email, monica@classtechtips.com, is where you can reach me, and at Class Tech Tips everywhere on social media. Now, my website, classtechtips.com, is full of new resources every week, lots of blog posts, and of course, I send out a Monday newsletter, so you can head over to my website if you want to sign up for the newsletter. That way, you'll get everything in your inbox. So, thank you so much for spending some time with me today so I could share some things to think about as you get ready to put tasks before apps this school year.